Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menasce, and this is the weekend edition where we interview notable people from the world of real estate investing. Today is no exception. We have a great guest all the way from the Chicago area. Welcome to the show, Brandon Schwab.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here, Brandon. Now, you are in a space that we're very familiar with. We know a lot of the same folks, and we are very active in the world of boutique assisted living.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people in the country that are working on that. So I'd love to, before we dive into those details, get a little bit of your backstory and how you got to this point in your journey.
Sure. So I will keep this brief. Our family member had a stroke when he was 85 years old, and he ended up in a 200 bed type building, and he just got terrible care, where when he had to have help, we pulled the pull cord to call in help. And it was about 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes, 15, 20. By 25, I just had to go find the team to help him. And I didn't handle it how I felt I would probably handle it today, because I didn't get how things were in that industry. And at the time, I didn't ever think I'd ever end up in the industry. Fast forward about 10 years after that, I was down in Florida and I saw a 5-bed home, and I said, what is this? And at the time I had 23 homes in our current portfolio, and I was in this house and I go, what is this? And I was there talking to her. I quickly figured out that house outperformed all 23 of our other homes 2 times each month. And I said, okay, time to, and I was able to get into it after that.
Fabulous. All the people I speak with that get into this business, almost without exception, enter the business because of some event, because something called to them that said, I need to make a difference, that the state of senior housing is such that nobody should go through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, it's a service business that's disguised to look like a real estate business.
Right.
Where the main differentiator is the service business. So a lot of people come into this space looking at the numbers, approaching it from the spreadsheet perspective, saying, wow, the numbers are great. I'm going to go do that business, not realizing that it's a 20% a real estate business and 80% a service business.
Sure.
How did you overcome the operational, procedural skill hurdle to get into the operation side?
Sure. So I opened up the house in 2015, and I quickly figured out that I did not have the proper team in place to do all that. So I quickly had to hire somebody, and I was calling on church pastors at the time, actually. And this church pastor introduced me to a girl who's been in the healthcare industry for 38 years. And I ended up to partner up with her in 2015. So our team together, basically, it would go over time, but our team today has folks that have been in the healthcare industry combined for 150 years, where I found that I'm an expert to pick the area to have the homes opened up. But I would definitely partner up with other people on our team that are experts at everything else. And her husband, he was in healthcare for 48 years. That's how I handled that piece.
One of the things that we discovered in the operation of our own facilities, we started out in a very saturated market, which is Dallas, Texas, where arguably it's a little bit overbuilt, and found that we were able to get high occupancies, not because we were aiming at the market averages, but almost without exception, people that came into our facilities were coming from another existing facility and they hated it. I would be interested to hear your perspective on, are you getting clients because they just aged out of their home, or it was due to some health event, or they were coming from another existing facility and it just wasn't a fit for them?
Yeah. So I think we get a bulk of them from a discharge planner. I figured out how to get into to have folks come to us through that channel. Back beforehand, I felt that we probably had over 50% coming from an elder 100 to 200 bed type place. And in our office, we don't really use the F word too much, but like we build a very cozy home. That's how I talk to people on all of our options, because each of our homes are 10 people to about 20 people per home, but they do typically come from a place that has 100 to 200. So I think the top option for people to come to us is that all of the other places have a caregiver to every 15 to about 20 people. And post-COVID, it's probably 20 to about probably 30 people.
Wow.
Where all of our homes are a caregiver to every 5 to 8 people. So our team truly cares and is able to offer the very cozy home atmosphere that I think people are after.
If you look at this business from a staffing perspective, people in senior housing talk about the top three issues being staffing, staffing, and staffing. And yet it's been our experience that we've been able to attract very high quality staff, because people that go into that business go into it because they care, because they want to help. And once they get into that institutional play, that gets beat out of them pretty fast.
Sure.
How has your product enabled those folks that are caregivers at heart to return to their roots and contribute in the way that they would want to?
So I would tell you, our company culture is it's focused on a family atmosphere, where that culture is different than every other atmosphere that's very cold and it's very focused on earning, right? Where I had an ED at another place take a $45,000 pay cut to come over, because after the first interview, this girl was like, this is awesome. This girl had $115,000 per year and took a $45,000 cut just to come over. And that's the thing that's able to happen, is I think the people who are in this industry, they truly are awesome people. And if you can put them in an atmosphere that they get to help other people and change the atmosphere for them, they are all over it.
Absolutely. Now, from a state to state perspective, the size of these boutique homes varies, usually based on state regulation.
Sure.
For example, we're in that 12 to 16 bed size in Texas, in Louisiana. Are you strictly in Illinois, or are you in other states as well?
Yeah, so I am only up here today. We only do 10 people per home, up to about 20 people each home. I do have a house on the East Coast that we were going to tackle that during COVID. I opted to put it up for sale because I'm going to focus on getting our first 30 homes here before I tend to go out of our area. During COVID, our income 2x'd, and I thought I had it all, like, all right, cool, perfect. And I did purchase a house on the East Coast. I bought it for 33% of the asking price. I had to close in about 5 days, and it was an awesome house. But I said, it is on the East Coast. So I am choosing to put all of our effort in our own area here first until I hit about 30 homes per area. Then I will go to other areas. But I tend to focus in areas where it is not as common to be. I think down by you guys for Texas, there's about 15,000 of these. Florida, there's 1,800. I think California, there's 2,800. I think in Arizona, there's 3,000. Up here by us, there's like 55. So there is opportunity here. So I feel that I don't have to end up at any other option because the place that I'm at right now is perfect.
When you look at, and it's not just dollars and cents, but when you look at markets and let's face it, this is a premium offering, and your biggest expense by far is staffing. You've got to be charging every bit of at least $5,000 per bed per month in order for the numbers to work.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be a copay with an insurance company or anything like that. It's going to be user pay. How do you determine that you're in an area that can in fact support that rate from an income demographic perspective?
Sure. So our very first house was in a town of 800 and about 32 total people, right? But the household income was $85,000 That was the average household income. Back in 2014, I opened in 2015. Our price for a private bed was $200 per day. So, and then our double beds were $5,000 each month. So I would have two people in each room. That house or that particular place would bring in $10,000 each month for that. And our average was probably $5,500. Fast forward to today, we're probably $6,000 to $6,500 as a average today, with the highest of probably $8,000 to $10,000. So our cost is higher, but as you are going to have the other options, they go, well, if the cost for a caregiver to every 20 to 30 people is $5,500, what is it going to be if you have a caregiver every 5 to 8 people? That's a hard thing to answer because they go, well, those things aren't equal. And if you don't get awesome care, and that's the thing that typically causes the issues there, is they don't have anyone to help, and that turns into a place that isn't awesome. So,
well, exactly. And if you have a caregiver ratio of 30-1 and you're that poor bugger at 3 a.m. that needs assistance to get to the bathroom, you're going to be waiting a long time.
It's terrible. Long time. It takes forever. It is terrible.
Absolutely. Well, Brandon, if folks want to connect, if they want to learn more, what's the best way?
Probably the best way is to either call the office to talk with me, or they can book a time to talk to me on the internet. Is probably the easiest, either to book a call for 15. So I'm going to put it over to you. It is Brandon, BRANDON, SCHWAB.com. That's probably, I think, the easiest to go there and book a time to talk with me.
Fabulous.
Or the office phone number is 847-380-8624. All those options could work. Thank you for the time to talk, man. Awesome meeting you.
Well, thank you. Well, Brandon, thank you for the perspective. And you definitely want to connect with Brandon at brandonschwab.com. The link will be in the show notes. And in the meantime, have an awesome rest of your weekend. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.